Hughy Lewis is a jerk. The Power of Love began playing in my mind while having breakfast on my back porch. Songs are messengers. So I put my oatmeal full spoon, or my spoonful of oatmeal, down and waited for the end. Within 40 years, I God, it's one of those things I just need, like, stop being such a dick and just use my glasses. God, sucks at 40 years. Within moments, 4 years evaporated, and once again, I was a student at University of Hawaii, Manona. December 16, 1985, Hughy Lewis News performed a highly anticipated sold-out concert in Honolulu. I was there. They were touring on the strength of the mega hit The Power of Love. Tower of Power legend horn section joined them that night. Having been born in San Francisco, I felt proud to share an evening with the Bay Area's music greats. I had the backstage patch, so I can hardly wait to meet Huey and his music god of MTV of the era. However, he wouldn't do anything with anyone. I was crushed. 10 years later, May of '95, I was on a return flight to San Francisco, and sitting next to a handsome young man with a duffel bag pushed under the seat in front of him. I noticed the band label on the bag, Hughy Lewis News. I wait, what? I leaned in over his shoulder and inquired, Rhodey? He nodded yes, with a hint of smugness assured, are you a fan? Before I knew it, the dormant volcano erupted. Hardly. Hughy Lewis is a jerk. I told him what happened at Honolulu 2 years prior. The roadie pointed his thumb over his shoulder, left shoulder that is, and whispered, Hughy is sitting right behind you. Be free to let him know. Uh-oh. Like a deer in headlights, I slowly turned around and peeked over my seat. Surely enough, Huey was looking out the window. Although 10 years had passed, son noticed him with new eyes. Huey was calm, quiet, free man from the screaming backstage chaos, autograph-seeking fans, demanding more of him after his soaked sweat performance. With his hands folded on his lap, he appeared humble, seeming alone in his own world. At long last, I understood the man whose peace I dare not disturb. I turned back and sat frozen in place. The roadie leaned over again. Why don't you tell him how you feel? Staring straight ahead, I felt shamefully admit I was blurted out. Hughy Lewis is a jerk. Just like some random person woke up every morning. Yeah, that's this Deborah Gilson. I thought it was Debbie Gibson this morning. I guess I was wrong. I guess that's what I get for reading Facebook at 3 o'clock in the morning with no glasses on. I thought it was Debbie Gibson saying Hughy Lewis was a jerk. I don't know if I think Hughy Lewis is doing Comic-Con in Pittsburgh, and I was wondering, hey, I wonder how much he gets tired of answering, hey, so what do you think of American Psycho using your music and name as a joke for the last 30 years? You know. I'm sure he has thoughts. I'm sure he got paid. And come out with just a little. Yeah, there we go. Anyways. Yeah. I kind of have the same story. I have a kind of the same story. When the Rams were training camp in Macomb, Western Illinois. Marshall Falk put his head over his towel over his head and didn't sign any autographs. I was crushed. I still think he's a dick. Couldn't run for shit in a Super Bowl. But this is beside the point. But I can understand the same frustration. Anywho, speaking of football, recently Craig Morton. Craig Morton's a quarterback that was Cowboys quarterback. You don't get it here because it's not Troy Aikman. It's not Roger Staubach. It's not Tony Romo. It's not Derek D. Priest, wherever, or Prescott, Derek Prescott, whatever the fuck his name is. Anyway, Craig Morton was a quarterback on the Cowboys during when they were the America's team. That's right. This is the America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, where Tom Landry was Fandora in his one suit he wore for 29 years before his ass got canned. Anyways, Craig Morton was the starting quarterback for Super Bowl V against the Baltimore Colts. And later he was actually the quarterback on Denver's Broncos' first Super Bowl visit, the famous Orange Crush of 1970, whatever, were crushed by the Cowboys. And that Super Bowl 12, just Super Bowl 12 at the Superdome. So, Craig Morton passed away. I mean, not really much to say. That's pretty much his bio. Him and Roger Staubach had a little quarterback duel. And Morton got the shorthand stick, and Craig Morton went to Denver, and the rest is history. Anyways, Craig Morton rightfully dead at 83. He was 83. That's a good lifetime for, especially an ex-quarterback who played in that era of football. Yeah. He was the first quarterback to play for two different teams in the Super Bowl. So, and there's only about 3 other people. So, there's that. So, Craig Morton dead. And recently, this the other day, Kyle Busch strangely passed away from some weird bacteria thing. It's weird. It's this one thing you see on your phone. Kyle Busch dead at 41. He's almost my age. 2-time champion, multiple champion, and all 3 levels of NASCAR. Yeah, that's kind of hitting home. It's close to my age. So, yeah. Kyle Busch, I don't really much what I can say about Kyle Busch because I got really out of NASCAR watching when Kyle Busch was really racing. But it was always Kyle Busch in the turn. Kyle Busch this, Kyle Busch that, so unfortunately he's gone. So, recently I found out they are, so I am a big fan of the Escape from New York movie. I have a poster up here. It's one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies. It was filmed in St. Louis. I guess that's another reason why it's a great movie. Ox Baker's in it. A great, great, great low budget movie that was just lasted the test time. So usually with movies, they make a movie and they will make a novelization of the movie. Get a little more backstory, more a little in depth. Tarantino did it for Inglourious Basterds. There's one for the Ghostbusters first two movies. And for the longest time, the Escape from New York novelization was out of print, or the one on Amazon was like $300. But in the next couple of days, there's actually the reprint. Which is now awesome because there's more backstory to it, because the quick overview of the movie, there's the World War III with Russia and New York. It's a New York Island, Manhattan Island is now a prison, which who knows, fiction may come reality, who knows. But there's also stuff going on in the United States in the story and all its backstory. A lot of backstory, yeah. So that's actually awesome now. I get to read it finally after 15 plus years of seeing this and that on the internet. Of course, there's the graphic novel, what happened after Escape from New York. I think that's also out of print. I mostly look for, if I'm ever looking for a graphic novelization of anything, it's more the Omnibus collection, so I can read all the way through. I got it with my Howard the Duck down there. So yeah, can't wait. I can't wait to get that upcoming. And I think I've actually figured out what I want with the graphics from it, man, which I'm going to probably do Escape from New York. Why not? Have big Kurt Russell in it, maybe Adrian Barbeau and her big fucking tits. Just some idea, finalized idea for that. So, plus, Escape from New York, there's no attribute to Escape from New York like that I've seen on Vans. So I got that going for me. What else? Found out recently. So Eminem, ex-wife, Cam Mathers, arrested. She made the news. And I actually thought, why don't she ever get like credit for some of those early Marshall Mathers stuff? Some of those violent masculinity songs is probably about her. You would think maybe they're a way to sue Eminem or whoever's owning the rights right now for a piece of those pies. This is a thought. Anyway, she hit and run or some shit like that. I don't know. I thought it was just interesting. She came up in the news recently. So, yeah. And recently I found out one thing. Segment into wrestling. So, big wrestling fan. Hulk Hogan fan. And I found out Hulk Hogan, and so let's rewind some stuff. Jim Crockett Productions, NWA, back in the 80s, had Starcade. It was WrestleMania before WrestleMania was a thing. It was a super card, so to speak, and had some wrestlers from other territories come in, but yada yada yada. So Hulk Hogan was supposed to be was going to be on the first Starcade in Greensboro, which That would have been heck of a thing. Starcade went on to be traditional with layers with NWA and WCW. I guess WWF right now it's using the moniker, but it's not really the same jive. But yeah, apparently Hogan was supposed to be in a tag match, but it was around the time he was jumping ship from the American Wrestling Alliance, or American Wrestling Association, that is, to the WWF. So, and especially Starrcade '83 takes place Thanksgiving of '83. So, within a month, the Sheik beats Backline for the WWF belt. Hogan comes in, and the rest, you say, is history. I thought that was very interesting to find out recently. Also, I probably should have known this a while ago when he was on the Joe Rogan Experience a few years ago, but this was part of the Joe Rogan on Spotify era, and I didn't listen to a lot of those episodes. WWF Undertaker's first match. So, like anywhere, wrestler starts under a mask, started in different territory before they became famous. He was the Brett Texan, I believe was the name. He put it under. He had a mask. His future manager Paul Bearer was his manager at the time. Now, a lot of famous wrestlers, or legends, I would say, usually don't go up against a big name star at the time. Usually they go against some guy in the middle of the card. They're facing another guys coming up on the roster. Whatever. So, and there was territory in the 80s. World class wrestling out of Dallas. Von Erichs. It was basically what the Von Erichs movie is based on. So, give you an idea of where this is all located. And so, Undertaker's first night, he's facing Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody, I understand, not a lot. It's just think of it as a wow man, a brawler. Is against not against the almost dressed like a Viking almost, but yeah. So basically, his first match was Bruiser Brody, and kind of Bruiser Brody, gave him the once over, and took him to town like this shit. Tell the guy was running and everything. He said, "Hey, this guy's good. Keep him, whatever." So I found that interesting. I had to actually watch the match. It's on YouTube. I watched it twice. Found it extremely interesting, especially when you shove Brody in the face like that in the corner, and he gets red ass hot, and throws you outside and takes you around the world. So that was interesting to learn. And speaking of up and coming, I actually finally got around to watching V. So there's the V from in the 80s and V that came out 20 years ago. So V miniseries in the 80s was basically, it's kind of like Independence Day, but stretched out, and there's like lizard people, and it was more soap opera type stuff, and a lot of it was A lot of stars that came up today, like Michael Ironside's in it. Um, that guy, of course. I should have wrote this out, but watching the the final battle, it's 2 part, 2 90-minute episode. One of my favorite character actors of all time in the 80s and 90s is Mickey Jones. Mickey Jones, for reference, always played maybe a hillbillyish type guy. Had long, almost ZZ Top hair. Very recognizable if you ever saw him. He was in Vacation at National Lampoon's Vacation as the maintenance guy or mechanic. He was in. He had a scene with Arnold in Total Recall. Recurring character on Home Improvement as one of the construction guys. So this it's easy to look up. So love this guy. I'd be like, oh, that guy. I love that guy. I love his shit. So he like I said, he basically got typecasted as kind of a hillbillyish type role because of his long hair, long beard, and everything. But he actually was paired up with Michael Ironside in the final battle. It was freaking cool, you know. And come to find out, he was a drummer. He was a drummer in the first edition, and the first edition was Kenny Rogers' band before Kenny Rogers got hit solo and got really famous. And first edition was like 60-ish, late 60s, and Mickey Jones was the drummer. And one of first edition's famous, pretty noble songs is "I Just Dropped In," which is on the Big Lebowski movie. So, thought that was very interesting to find out. Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool factoid, I was like to say. So, yeah. Anyways, love Mickey Jones. Unfortunately, he's passed away again. Probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago at least. Yeah. Or at least, yeah. Some before 2020, I know that. So it's anyway between 6 and 16 years. So let's say that. So then maybe touch on one more thing. Oh, so big indoor football fan. So there's the indoor football league now. There's AF1. That's the one with the nets. There's National Arena League and one league that popped up this spring, the Indoor American Football International or International American Football League, and it's probably the shittiest indoor football I've ever seen. Field goal posts are red, which you can't really decipher when you're watching on stream. They have a streaming thing which, if they're playing copyrighted music, would just drop out, you know. And when they put the game re-edited back online, the fake music, it's so oversaturated. It's complete shite. And let's not forget some of the nuts and bolts of this league. They're charging $60 for a ticket, which is nuts because indoor football league is charging $30 at the most, and they have a couple teams in markets that's already have teams. and the arenas are empty. Not gonna lie. Indoor football is a very niche sport to be entertained by. However, when you're drawing, it has to be 100 people. Especially, they even have games in Europe. That some are getting canceled. It's expensive shit. This shit's expensive. I want to say it. This shit is expensive because of shit football. And there was like a game that was like 1910. Now, no, I'm not talking about the year 1910. No, that was a score. Pennsylvania 19, Utah 10. Normally, on average, it's usually 43 to 25, or even in the 60s. But now with this, like, it would be interesting if it was a semi-pro league, but they're trying to take over the world, literally, with teams in Nova Scotia or some shit, wherever those European cities they have. But it's garbage. Garbage, I tell you, garbage. There is times although I do love a good watching garbage. I am fascinated. In the next couple of weeks if this shit show is going to actually make it through. Yeah. Anywho, got 30 minutes in the can, or roundabout way. So, yeah. Pretty much the last video for May. Birthday's coming up. Actually, this is a little information. Last time on the show, I mentioned the speed dating thing, which I got accepted, of course. Paid my fee, and it's this weekend, the 30th, and I'll see what kind of shit story I can make out of it. Now I've gone and wrote some questions down, some ideas, but it's like I was telling my friend yesterday. I'll do anything for a good story. So, yeah. Maybe I'll make the entire video this about that. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I can make a love connection. By the way, one of my favorite dating shows, Love Connection. Anywho, I babble enough. Alright? So, until next time, I'll see ya when I see ya, and like always, play something pretty for Stella. Did I look hangover? No, I was up late last night. I didn't get to bed till about midnight because I was watching date night. So, I had the speeding date yesterday. Where, I went there, got there early. Of course, I'm the kind of person who gets there early. Just wore black, nice shirt, jeans, and my tennis shoes. And that's it. So they handed us a packet, like 3 pages of items and 2 drink tickets. So it was like a vanilla envelope. By the way, they always give us numbers, and I was number 8. So, anyways, apparently some people didn't show up or back out, or I'm not saying that's kind of flaky, but it's one of those things that if you signed up, you probably should put in your Rolodex. But also, I kind of have my thoughts on this company store too. I don't know what I call it, a store, a restaurant, or a bar. I guess I just call it a bar. But also it's like a brew company or whatever. Anyways, first sheet of paper goes, thank you for joining us for this event. Good conversation, good people, good beer. I had water. I stuck with water. Feel right at home. We matched tidbits based on mutual preference. Some people have more dates than others. That's by design. If you find yourself in an open round, please take an opportunity to sit back at the bar, relax, enjoy, whatever. Dating rounds conclude. Feel free to mingle afterwards and whatever. Walk away, new friends, spark. Great story. Hope brings something special. And just second page, some conversation starters. This is a good idea. So here is there were 7 women and me, a guy in a wheelchair, and probably some guy who just hanged out at a bar, pretty much. He was number 4. And so I started off with I'm not going to give the women's names of this now, because it's one thing I had to think about. Do I want to tell them about this little project I'm doing? Anyways. Number 5, I really like number 5. First one off. See, good vibes. Seems very down to earth. And, she has family problems like I do, so that's good. And she worked in HR, and she says she has a wicked sense of humor. So I told her I'm Cook's wicked sense of humor. So who knows? Maybe that's a good love connection right there. So I went to number 2. Number 2 was a really heavy hitter. Number 17. Number 17, she this is all small talk stuff, so it's like she talked about her job. She does a little photography on site. I mentioned, oh hey, are you going to, because Cubs and Cardinals are playing this week. He goes, oh, you're going to shoot something for the Cubs-Cardinals series? And she goes, I am a Cardinals fan, and what about you? It's like, I'm an Astro fan. It was like, she goes, oh, really? How do you decide that? Well, they play in the Astrodome, and Astrodome was a big hotbed for monster trucks. She goes, I love monster trucks. Like, winner, Alright. That's a plus side. We talk about monster trucks for the next 4 minutes or so, 3 minutes. Yeah. So that that was good. I gave her my number before she left. I'll recap everything, but the number 18 was. At first I said yes, but I'm thinking no, not really. But yeah, she was okay. Number 7, I like number 7 too. And so far I have done 4 women, and I can move her up to number 3 because 1 or 2 are tied. Number 7, she actually was in school, and at the same time I was cooking, so that's good. I liked her. Her friend was number 2. She was alright. Oh no. Yeah, number 2, yes. And there was a friend. They came 7 and number 2 came in together. Yeah. But I like 7 better than 2. Now number 3 is a real doozy. Number 3. So number 3 came in. She was looking for something. I don't know what. She came in wearing a dress. I mean, something slit down the side. Almost like a dress, very dressy skirt and heels. I mean, 6-inch heels, you know. And she was drinking wine. I guess gotta say that because she came out that vibe of she goes, wait, like kind of like this, like that, and like kind of like somebody's been a couple sheets to the wind and drunk. Something about this is not her first rodeo. Number 3, like I was more nervous when number 3 than anybody else on this list, because she, the way she was dressed, the way she was acting, she wanted some dick. She wanted either some dick, money, or everything in between. And number 3. Just came off maybe a little strong. Maybe like when I got there, it's like, no, type of stuff. You know, I got that vibe from her. Yeah, she was something. I gave her my drink tickets. Her, and number 4 were talking at the bar, and I gave him my drink tickets. You know, I usually don't drink out in public unless I'm Ubering or I'm with somebody or somebody else is driving, because I love to drink. And the last one, there was this nothing, no flair, no nothing. Yeah, but so far, if I was able to make a match, 5 and 17 are tied for 1 and 2. I like 17 because there's mutual stuff with monster trucks and everything else, which is cool. I like number 5 because she seems a little wholesome in a way, because her name was, she goes, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna say her name right now. Her name's Mary Joseph. She goes, very biblical. I was like, okay, this is probably a good sign. It means she's not that nuts. I'm just going to say this right here. I don't care if you're that religious or not. Just don't beat it down my throat. Maybe that was the reason why I broke up with the other one, but besides other things. But Number 5, she, seems like we have a very similar background of family where we have nieces and nephews and a little chaotic, maybe. So that's something that we can bond over. I actually refer Fight Club because there's a scene where the narrator and Tyler Durden is talking, and narrator goes, "I don't know my father. He, every 7 years he moved on to a new wife." And Tyler Durden goes, "Oh, he's starting to send out franchises." So I dropped that little nugget. And hey, is she? I want to see how her sense of humor is. Can I take her to a Jim Norton stand-up show? It's the thing. Can we joke about like the most horrific shit ever? But yeah, so yeah, 17 and 5 are one neck and neck, and number 7 is a close third. Followed by maybe 2, then 18, 3, and in the open spots, it's whatever. But so afterwards, we actually 2 guys came out late, and one guy was coming with one guy who was also kind of overdressed. He kind of had dressed. The only thing I can describe it was he dressed like the Joker in a way, but it was like he had to be around 40ish anyways. The way he was saying like his son and stuff, but he was saying this stuff like when people say oh, God put us here to do this wonderful day, stuff like that. It's kind of like, it's either you're really repressing something or you're just kind of, he was really putting on a show, because that's kind of, you're hiding something, and you're over religious, you're front, bro. Oh, wait, there's something really, I don't want to say phony-ish, because I don't believe he's saying to himself he's actually phony. I think he actually believes in stuff, but it just really comes off really, really strong. When somebody goes, "Oh, God's here today for this blessed shit," but that's really putting stuff way, way over the top. Especially when you're trying to win 17, 18... So afterwards, 17, 18, 7, and 2, we all got into this little corner, and I came back over. We chatted. We all chatted. A nice little group. And 18 asked if word association. I told him, 4 out of 5 stars. There was some stuff that it could have been better, but yeah. Then like one of the guys got in problem. He's like, asked, hey man, you gotta speak up and sing to these ladies and like shit like this. It's like, you're trying to humiliate. I feel like a little humiliating, but at the same time, hey, I'm getting up and still kind of putting on a brave face. Also, but for some odd reason, I couldn't remember. I was trying to sing "Do Run Run Run" to "Do Run Run," and just made up some shit on the spot. So, yeah, I don't know if this is trying to humiliate me or something or other, but it's kind of peacocking me almost in a way. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. From there, I gave number 17 a strip of paper my number on. I was I was still kind of shaking. I don't know why, because I couldn't remember my phone number. Maybe it's because I was still kind of. It was just kind of a nervous outing, especially when you're. It's basically a 5-minute elevator pitch, so to speak, and they're hopefully trying to have something more than a friendship, doing a speed dating event like that. And then afterwards my nerves was kind of shaking, so went to the gas station, got me a soda, and that actually calmed my nerves down in a way, so that helped. Soda's better than beer. What can I say? Will I do this again? Sure, what the hell. So I gave number 17 my number right there. I'm kind of hoping she knows the area code, because it's the one thing I've normally do is put the area code then the number, but I'm kind of hoping she does know. Hey, it's the additional number in this area. It's not new one for the area, because there is a new, much like that in the episode of Simpsons, Tale of Two Cities. There is another area code for the town, and I didn't get the chance to talk more with number 5. I wanted some more in depth with number 5, so I emailed him, the company, the bar, whatever you want to call it. It's like, hey, enjoy today. Please give number 5 my contact information. So, who knows? I may hear something from the next few days. Who knows? Like everything else in life, I just have to sit back and do the waiting game. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much was my Saturday. There's more to that other stuff, but I can hold it off for next time. But yeah, that was my speed and date experience. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't good. Actually, it was pretty good. They all were nice. Number 3 was kind of something. She was something. She was trolling for dick. They ask, hey, what we should do different like this. It was a little cramped area too. That's because it's a small confined space. It's sharing right next to a fast food joint. But yeah, that's really much I got to say about the speedy dating experience. I can chalk that off on my playlist. Let's see. A blind date. You know what? I haven't done a blind date ever. You know what? That's my next mission. Who's going to set me up for a blind date? Yeah. Yeah. Well. Oh well. So until next time, as always, play something pretty for Scylla.